Well, it's Friday. By hook or by crook, we made it. And we're only
Mm.
4 minutes late, Dom. Only 4 minutes late. So good enough. Maybe a little light here. Mary is out in places unknown. Our guy O's got to take care of a little business. Spoonie! Oh no, Spoonie said he was on his way. Um, I'm out here looking. That's okay though. Me and Dom got your back. That's all that matters. Let's go ahead and start the show.
Yes, sirs.
BJ Nix, are you here?
Present.
Do we have
Present.
Spoonie, Timothy Spoonie?
Present, sir.
Margaret and Mary. Do we have a Margaret and Mary?
Yes.
Cool.
And the
All right.
margaritas.
The whole class here. We're ready. Let's go.
Yes, let's go.
Montgomery who lost the football, and the Cowboys have it. It's Parsons on top of it. First and foremost, I know he wasn't here Wednesday. I know we didn't get a chance to speak on the Eagles game. No, we're not going to take up too much time, right? That time is kind of past.
Right.
But I'm putting cases. I got the police lights behind me. I'm putting cases on all them refs up there in Philly at Lincoln Financial. We need cases on y'all. That's all. That's where I'm at. I'm sorry. It's just where I'm at. Once again, things were happening Wednesday. We couldn't get out here and do the recap of the game. But simply put, we don't go too far into it. For me, I'm putting cases on the refs. That's where I'm at, Dom.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's not an excuse. It's just bringing context to what happened in that game. And unfortunately, when you look at the stats, the differential between the teams as far as penalties, it was right there. It was pretty neck and neck. But it seemed like the crucial ones happened in times where Dallas was getting it going, or it's just an inopportune time where it hurt them the most. So, things happen where they miss plays and miss penalties throughout the game. I saw one whenever we scored our very first touchdown. They could have called offensive lineman down the field. It is what it is. But when you start to get real close like it was in that fourth quarter and to see some of those things work against Dallas, it's just unfortunate to see. At some point, you want to see two Titans like that clashing just to let them play. So if you're going to call it on one, you got to call it on the other. If you're going to not call it, then don't call it on the other. It just seems like things continue to spiral for the refs when it came to Dallas.
Yeah, man, that third quarter, right? I mean,
Rough.
obviously that third quarter, very rough. And Spoonie over here trying to call the group chat. I'm like, Spoon, you can't call us right now. You just hit the link and join, Spoon. That's all you got to do, Spoon. Just hit the link and join. And my guy Mark Bluff in the building. What's going on, Bluff? Hey, man, real quick, it's as simple as this. Mary is still in parts unknown on her vacation, and Professor Rose taking care of some family business tonight. So you got to rock with the three guys because Spoonie finally not Facebook calling, just hit the link and joined.
Oh yeah, my bad. It was I was messing with my phone. I hit the button by accident. Excuse my voice. I got this sinus infection. My God, can't stand New York. It's going around.
Big thanks, my guy Falcon for Twitter follows me over there on Twitch. What's going on, man? Hey, man, you come over on YouTube and join the fun as well, my guy. Just hit over to the Pick Six Sports, go over here, hit that sub, Falcon, and join in the chat over here. And of course, it is Freestyle Friday. You know, I got to do my due diligence as always. I still got look. See how mad I am? I didn't let the damn police as I'm putting in these in these cases on these refs from that damn Philly game. So.
Right. That was rough.
Yeah, and look, and here's the thing, right? I mean, again, like I said, I don't want to go too far into it, but I feel like we got to recap it a little bit since we wasn't here on Wednesday. And, you know, just simply put, man, all flags aren't created equal, right? And the big thing was, man, that third quarter, they got busy. That third quarter, they got busy. But, you know, it's water underneath the bridge. You know, what can we do? You know, here's the thing about it, and maybe the most frustrating thing about it, in general, with everything that happened, everything be damned, the Cowboys had an opportunity right there to win the game, and they didn't. And that's the frustrating thing about it. I think for me, at the end of the day, is simply this: they have to find ways, right? They found a way in LA against the Chargers to get a close-knit game done. You lost one in Arizona, you lost one on the road in Philly, and that's the thing they have to kind of close the gap and find in those kind of games is a way to get it done.
Yeah, at some point you want the team to be able to step up. I thought if they would have won this game, would have been a big boost in the confidence department within that locker room to know that you can, down the stretch when times are getting tough in hostile territory, to be able to pull out a game like that. And it was nice. It seemed like, man, this is setting up. This is almost poetic, where we can go into Philly, go into the link, steal one on the very last drive in the last few seconds, and then lo and behold, we get a penalty, and that starts to rear its ugly head where that was a legit penalty. And then you get the back-to-back sacks, putting them back behind the sticks, and then, you know, Dak having to heave it to CD, who wasn't in the end zone quite yet, but you just wish they could have pulled that out, because for championship teams, those are the type of games that they do pull the rabbit out of the hat and finally get over the hump. And so it's like, when is Dallas going to have that chance, that time in this season where you want to see them kind of have that championship medal, if you will? And so they've got some games coming up, not this week, not next week, but we learned from the Cardinals game we can't take anybody for granted. So they'll still have to show up and win these next 2 or 3, where it seems like winnable games where they should be favored by quite a bit, which I see Vegas put some outrageous number.
Yeah, 16 and a half.
16 and a half on this game. I'm not a betting man, but I understand those. Those odds. It's like, my Lord, that's a huge point spread.
Yeah, so, big facts.
But anyway, you just hope when we come against those, like the Dolphins, the Bills, those teams coming up, Philly again, we'll see them at our house. Pull them out, man, because you need these wins down the stretch to be able to test yourself for the real time whenever we want to see them overcome things in the playoffs.
Yeah, big facts, big facts. Boney, they saying you having your flu game tonight. Is that where it's at? You got the flu game cast.
I'm a Michael Jordan with this. Yeah, listen, I'm not upset happy with the loss. I was more disappointed because I feel that we was the better team overall. But I understand what this team had to battle on the field. And listen, all hats to all Philadelphia fans, 2MW, 2 Men Warning, who came up here and joined us. If you were in here, congratulations on the win, X, Y, and Z. But I'm keeping it funky, as I always do. Keep it 100. We had to battle the team and the rest. I mean, it's about being honest. I'm not gonna say we lost entirely because of the ref, because again, like BJ said, we did have a shot to win at the end. I just think there was so much going on. We wasn't focused. I wish McCarthy might have, if we had to call a timeout, I would look at it over again, call a timeout, get the team refocused, because there was so much going on with the penalties going back and forth. Then Dak got sacked when we wish he never got sacked. You know, I'll say this: there's no game is ever perfect, but if some of the calls there wasn't me, I'm not gonna say it's a guaranteed victory for the Cowboys, but I would say the outcome could have became different, where maybe we're not needing a touchdown, maybe just a field goal, whatever. There were things that we could have did better that we didn't. At the same time, it was a lot to battle for this team, but I'm also happy and encouraged that, again, just like any newborn baby, when they crawl before they take their first step, this offense was taking their first baby step, and it was looking very good. And I can't wait for, as the upcoming games coming up, that we're able to keep the same thing we did with Philly. Keep it up. This New York Giant game, you treat this Giant team like a playoff team. Don't care what their record is. You treat this team. We've already suffered that type of L with the Cardinals. We don't need this to happen again. So again, hats off to the Philadelphia Eagles fans, but I still feel that this Dallas Cowboys team was the better team that day, and we will see them again November 10th, and hopefully, just hopefully, we will all be there to tell the story, depending what's on the line. So, December 10th.
Yeah, 10 for Monday Night Football. They held serve at home, and now we got to we got to hold serve, and make some hay, if you will, these next games, Dom. As we're getting into it, obviously, the Giants, and it's an interesting time here with the Giants because obviously we opened the season against them, right? And it was, they closed the gap. We heard a lot of that kind of talk. Coach of the year. And, the one thing that we always talk about in general is, man, besides just the week-to-week league, where you just don't know where this thing's going to go at times. And obviously the Cowboys, 40-0. And we came here and we talked about it. It's like, look, even at that moment, we're like, I don't think we're that much better than them, is where we were. However, the way things have transpired for them has definitely went the wrong angle. Obviously, things were not happening for Daniel Jones, then the injury, and here comes Tyrod Taylor, then he gets injured, then there's the rookie DeVito. Now here Daniel Jones comes back, and unfortunately now he's gone for the year, and Tyrod's not ready, and now here's DeVito, which, by the way, NFL record, when he makes the start against us Sunday, that's 10 rookies to start this season for different NFL franchises. That's an NFL record in a single season.
Wow.
Is where it's just kind of been at quarterback play in general, which circles back to Dom, and you were in the spaces with me. We were having this conversation during the offseason or preseason going into it, and everyone loves to do these lists, right? Top 10 this, top 10 that, and I pounded the table a lot. Like, look, man, there's Patrick Mahomes, and then there's guys, and Dom, we really try to hammer home that, look, it's a different league right now at quarterback. Simply that the Drew Breeses, the Ben Roethlisbergers, even the Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, like, these guys are gone. Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, however you want to feel about Eli as we're playing the Giants, right? The Philip Rivers, like, these guys are gone. And it's a different league. It's very much a young, sure, we know about the Burrow and his career where he's at, the MVP, Lamar Jackson, right? Tua staying healthy, here he comes. But just from a quarterback standpoint across this league, we kept trying to tell people, like, you don't have a plethora of elite quarterbacks in this league. Burrow might be walking through that door. But again, outside of Mahomes, it's where we're at. And I think it's funny to kind of revisit now as we're going up against the Giants, forget about the gap being closed, just what's happened with them at quarterback. We kind of look and pivot around the league now and see how it lays. And I think a lot of things we talked about, Dom, kind of came home to roost, if you will, and make a lot of sense now. Here we are in, week 9. Is that where we at? Where we at? 5-3? Yeah, week 9.
Yeah, I mean, it's been like that for a couple of years now, where you started to see that this is going to hit this year. And so you're thinking about next year's draft, the 2024 NFL draft. It looks like you're going to have a number of highly touted candidates that some of these quarterback-starved teams can be able to go out and get. But we also do see where, man, we're so starving for good quarterback play to where you see guys like Jalen Hurts. I mean, he's phenomenal. He's fantastic. But, man, there's been an instant crowning of him, it seems, where I want to see him just put it together for a couple of seasons before you start considering him amongst the elite of the elite. As if you're talking about him with some of the names that you mentioned of the guys who have now left the game, and now you're starting to see, heck, the media is jumping on the C.J. Stroud bandwagon, and yes, he's having a great season himself. Happy for the young man resurrecting that Texans franchise, but it just goes to show you everybody's looking to jump on the latest wave of whichever quarterback is doing well. You're starting to see Lamar Jackson finally getting some love once again. Joe Burrow had a tumultuous start to begin this season, and now he's coming on, and I'm seeing that he's one of the quarterbacks with the greatest odds of winning the MVP. When we know that this hasn't been a Joe Burrow type of season. While yet here Dak Prescott is ho-hum along, though his team hasn't beaten anybody worth their snuff yet. We've lost our two biggest games against opponents where you wanted to see our entire team show up. Well, at least he showed up last game, being able to throw for 347 yards, him and CeeDee Lamb having that connection. Dallas didn't lose that game because of Dak. And in fact, they were in the game because of some of the things that Dak Prescott was doing. So Dallas fans, Cowboys Nation, you got one. You got a real one in Dak Prescott. Him and Jalen Hurts are the toast of the NFC. They just happen to be in the same division. We'll see them again. There's still a chance for Dallas to make some noise and be able to potentially get that number one seed. But I'm getting ahead of myself, one game at a time. But no, we got a good one in Dak, and you want to continue to see him will and deal the way that they finally let the reins go and let him take it over, because what we've seen out of Dak the last 3 games is more of what we need to see. So what happened to the Texas Coast offense? That seemed to be toast. All this simple, timing and getting the ball out of his hands really quick. It seems as Dak is pretty much taking this thing over and they're letting him do what he does best. And so hats off to them. You wish they could have pulled that game out. We simply didn't. But yeah, the league right now starving for legit quarterbacks, and we got one.
10-4, which takes us to this game here, right? Close the gap and everything else, and here we are, right? So DeVito, the rookie's going to be playing. Obviously, they traded away a key piece on their defensive line as well, Spoon. Which was you're not talking about waving the white flag per se as an organization, but it doesn't ultimately give you a vote of confidence when you're moving off of a guy like Leonard Williams. And Saquon's coming back from injury. Here you are there. So as we're getting into this matchup with the Giants, and it can kind of give you a little bit of false hope. Look, I'm seeing a lot of people talk about, hey, just get these young guys reps. This is where you get young guys reps. You can do these things right here. Whoa. We're 5-3. We're 5-3. You need to take care of business. You can't overlook them. And they've talked about this of, hey, we still within the locker room, Dak and the guys have been talking about, hey, it's a game here. We can't just overlook it. We have to make sure, because we got caught like that already this season. So I understand that standpoint and where they are. So I think a lot of people are expecting the Cowboys to go out here, another 40-0 burger, maybe something along those rings. Every game is different. And I said, we started about from the very beginning of the season of they closed the gap, whatever we saw the game, that we've watched how they've matriculated and things that have happened to them. But it's still an NFC East opponent, and you still have to, take the weight on and understand what it is.
Yeah, 100%. I don't agree with that at all. I've always felt that, depending how the game goes, how comfortable you are with the league, is that then you can make a decision to go out there and put some young guys for more reps. I forgot where I saw it at, but about some people say about Trey Lance, get him some reps. No. The whole, let's go back to the beginning. This Texas Coast offense, right? This is the type of game where you want to open up the playbook more, see what you can do, execute. If you can do it against the Giants, it'll get you comfortable for the next game. We have a task at hand. We lost that Philly game. It didn't take us out all the way, but what it did was it gave us a little bit of a thought saying, hey, we can play with these guys. We can beat these guys. So what you want to do is prepare yourself for December 10th, God forbid, if something's on the line that may favor the Dallas Cowboys. Now, guess what? Your offense is up to speed. Your defense is getting better. Guess what? We could be that complete team that that us fans have wanted. This is not a time to play with your food. You don't play with your food. When you play with your food, somebody comes and snatch that up from you. So you don't do that. This is the type of game that you want to see Dak Prescott get more involved with the offense. You want to see Jalen Tolbert, who was getting some snaps in. Happy for the young man. Got his first NFL touchdown. I love how Dak and the team embraced him because guess what? Last season, guess what we were talking about? Tolbert now making the team, get him traded. So now we can't forget that. We want to keep developing him. And if Michael Gallup is for some reason how some folks feel that he's slowing down, maybe it's the injury, he's maybe not there yet. You want a guy like Tolbert to get in there to maybe get some reps in case Gallup falls down all the way. You want that. You want to see Schoolmaker get more reps. Okay, that's your second round pick. You want to see him get a little more reps. You got Ferguson doing his thing. You want to see Schoolmaker get a little bit more loose. You want to see Rico Dowdle get in there, get some licks. Maybe even what's my man's name? Deuce Vaughn, who may be training kicks on the turn. This is time. You want to see him get reps, but you don't want to sit out there and bring out the whole starting lineup and put the backup. No. Let's wait until the fourth quarter. Let's see how this game goes. Because at the end of the day, yes, the Giants have a quarterback who's very inexperienced, but they still got a solid defense. They still got a pass rusher who come after you. Hey, Tyron Smith he's an older vet. He may not be practicing all week, but guess what? He's an older guy. So you're going to be against a pass rusher who may get through. Guess what? He protects your quarterback. So at the end of the day, in my opinion, I'm saying just let's see how the game progresses. Let's see what happens between each quarter, how the game is flowing. If we have a comfortable lead like we had week one, then bring the backup in the game. But by planning it, nah, I'm not with that.
Yeah, I mean, never mind the game that Steele's having. You know, when we hit him last week, and things are going on there.
If BJ's playing me on Madden football and he blow me out the way he plays, here's the thing. He could put his backup in the game if he wants to. Give me a chance to catch up. But that's another story. Again, play your game. Play your game and see how it goes.
Yeah, you know, again, even though Leonard Williams isn't there, right? You have to look at they still have guys that can rush the quarterback. Well, we know Wink likes to dial up the blitz, and you know there's things to be had here, and you want to start getting on a roll, right? You want to continue what the offense and the passing game's been doing. Maybe we'll see a little bit more Cooks, obviously, but you know, here's another thing. Hey, maybe we get that running game going a little bit more, and we kind of talked about it like. It's not the running game of old, but over the last 2 weeks, right? And here's the thing, and Spoon, you said it perfectly about Rico Dowdle, in my opinion, is Pollard's getting about 12 carries. He's averaging 4.2 to 4.4 yards per carry. Yeah. You're not involving me in the passing game, but that's, look, before the season started, we all talked, yeah, he's probably going to get about 12 to 14 carries a game. We understood that out of the gate. What we also thought, though, was the number two, and why it was so highly contested, we talked about it during the preseason, was whoever won it was going to get that 6 to 10 carries as well, right? To get over that 20, get to that 22 to 25 kind of mark. And Rico had 2 carries last week, right? Obviously, the third one, that was a big one that got called back because of the penalty, but we're not seeing Rico get carries, or Hunter Lipke, or even whether, you know, Deuce has been inactive for a while, Malik Davis. And we've seen CeeDee Lamb at times get more carries in a game than a different running back. So to me, those are the things, right, that you want to, you know, not to my backups of getting things in and overlooking this team, but what you want to be able to do is establish the run a little bit more, right? Let's get Rico involved in a little bit more. I think those are the kind of the things that I look at from this team going into this game is, hey, have your game plan, look where the weak attack them how you need to. And I mean, my goodness, we even heard Jerry Jones. Man, I meant to get the clip for tonight. And I forgot to get it. I didn't get out of the shop till late. We were super busy. This man said, we got a pass to set up the run. And I said, I don't think I'd ever think I would hear Jerry Jones say that. But that's the way the Dak in this offense is operating right now, obviously. but yeah, I mean, there's things you want to see. We want to see still have a bounce back game, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes the run game can help offensive linemen get back into the fold a little bit. Let them
Right.
go lean on somebody some. So yeah, again, I don't think you can take this game lightly by any stretch. I don't care that 17 or 17 and a half, wherever it said. I saw it in the chat. They were talking about whether it was 17 or 17 and a half. I don't like that kind of spread in any NFL game, period. I just don't. And I think the Cowboys have business to do. We talked, and Dom, you talked about it, right? 3 games. We got them, Giants, obviously, not getting ahead of it, just kind of talking about what you were at. Then you got Carolina on the road, and then you come home for Washington, who their quarterback, who's starting to figure some things out over there now. They might be 500 after this week. We'll wait and see. But you got 2 winnable games for sure ahead of you. You can't overlook that. You can't take it for granted. You have to get out here and attack things. And I understand the temperament of people around the way talking about get these other guys reps, because I heard make sure Seam Richards gets reps, Bass get more reps, and like all these things. That sounds great, but in the grand scheme of things, there's business to be handled here, and the Cowboys need to work on things with their starters. I think that's for me the missing thing, Dom, is there's things to work on with the starters to get better at, not these guys behind them.
Right. There's the need for cohesion, and there's a need for them to be able to understand how to communicate with one another, and not just pre-snap, but like while the play is developing. And so what I'm continuing to see is some vision issues with your offensive line, being able to slide to protection. I've seen a couple of times where Dak, even with Biotish, both of them misidentified the mic. You can't do that whenever you know a blitz is coming, especially when it's like a safety blitz or you're bringing that extra linebacker. Like, there's no way you can miss sliding that protection. There's no way you can misidentify who the true mic is, or there's a time when you have to reset on who the mic is. You might declare who he is when you go up to the line, and then when things start to shift as you do your motion and you see what's happening ahead of you, then you might reintroduce who the mic is now. And a couple of those times it cost them. So you're getting pressure right up the gut and right into the face of Dak Prescott, and everybody who watches this game long enough know what is the worst pressure you can get on your quarterback. Immediately in his face from the middle. So it looked nice last week to see Tyron Smith bounce back, look like an elite left tackle again. He looked like his former self. Our left guard, Tyler Smith. He did a great job during that game. At one point, I was looking around going, is Jalen Carter even playing? Especially that first half, it's like, where is he? So, I mean, they were doing good things up front here and there, but again, it goes back to what we've said for the last 6-7 weeks. It always seems each play there's one offensive lineman who's not quite doing his job, who's getting beat. And then this past week, the one that had the big struggles was Terrence Steele. But even whenever he had it right on a couple of plays, then it was Biotish where they didn't identify who the true mic was, or even a Zach Martin giving up a pressure. So overall, you want to see this team come together, have some cohesion, have some consistency, the communication. It's all these C words. And the last one, continuity. That's been a major word for Dallas, for the offensive line, ever since that 2016 squad came in and did their thing. But since then, we've had issues up front. So you hope to get your best 5 going. You hope Steele can somehow get it going. I think that's the guy you need to really start to work on. Him, and then him with that exchange with Zach Martin. Last year, it was like bread and butter before he got hurt. Like, they're crashing down, making that thing work in the run game. You're not seeing that anymore, the double teams working. Maybe it's the new scheme with Mike Solari. Maybe that's the adjustment they need to make, of scrapping some things and going back to what they're most comfortable with. We talked about how that offensive unit this year was going to punch guys in the mouth, not so much even in pass protection or wait and catch blocks, but actually go attack. And it just seems to not be really working for this team in a consistent manner. So these are the 3 weeks you want to be able to use it as like actual live practice against guys who are trying to make their money and make teams and keep their careers going by really getting it all together. So you have a golden opportunity to prepare for that tough stretch, 5-game stretch after these 3 games, and then look into the playoffs. So I'm actually glad that our schedule is ending up being sneaky hard, because right now we've had a pretty manageable schedule. Honestly, if we're looking at it, we knew that going into the season, first half is going to be a little bit better for us. Second half, it's really going to get tough because we had to play a tougher schedule than the year before. So get it together now. I ain't about sitting nobody, especially not going into a game. It's kind of like Spoonie said, if we're rolling, we're rolling. Like week 1, then you bring in some guys. But initially, you got to go into this thinking these are must-win games because you're trying to get back into that division race with Philly and San Francisco.
Right. And you look at, simply put, when it comes to Philly, right, their next 3 games, right? They're on the road to Kansas City, Then was it Kansas City, San Francisco, and the Bills,
Buffalo.
I think. Buffalo. So, if they drop a couple there and you win out, next time you're matching up with them, well, it is for the division. So, yeah, look, within the game organically, right? If, you get to the fourth quarter and this thing is nasty, right? And this game is 37-0 or 37-7 or 42-14 or something along those lines, then by all means, go in there. Look, give some guys some opportunity to do some different things and play, but you can't have the mindset of going into this game that we're going to, get these guys work. You can't go into it we'll sit this guy and do more here. You can't do that. As you said, treat it as live practices, even to a certain extent, against those guys, Dom. It's simply put, go out there, handle business, earn your rights to be able to play those guys, but you can't go in there with this mindset of we're going to do a lot of extra stuff that we haven't been doing thus far. Like, you need to hone in, get the continuity, do those kinds of things as you're moving forward, and stack good wins. Hey, you got to go on a win streak. You're 5-3. Time to go on a win streak right here ahead of the Philly game in a month. Our guy Ricardo, aka Space Cowboys, in the building. Space, how are we doing this Friday, sir?
Doing quite well. I mean, I don't know what other thoughts to put on this Giants game other than don't lose. I mean, like, I can't. Like, there really is no. There is no real big analysis other than you're going up against a slightly stingy defense, and your offense should have enough to take care of it. Like, there's not a lot to go into this. I think
not a lot of meat on that bone.
There isn't. So I think, as you were mentioning, a win streak, it's important. These next 3 games, really next 4 games, actually, if we're being completely honest, because you're going to get into a kind of gauntlet in the sense of, like, the time in which you're playing these games. You are going to be going through, what, like 4 or 3 games in 12 days or something like that, or 10 days. That's a lot. But the good news for you is you don't have a San Francisco, you don't have a Buffalo or a Kansas City in your way, like Philly does. But you need to find your groove here. You need to. That goes for the offensive line specifically, because we talk about continuity a lot. And it feels like they've been playing together. This is the 4th game out of the last 5 games they played together. I don't know what's going on, man. Like, it's just like, well, we know what's going on, but
yeah,
it just feels like a myriad of issues that I don't know how you solve it, honestly.
Yeah, and it's I mean, now's the time. The Giants, this team versus the team that we thought we were going to, contend with even before week 1, even after week 1. It's bad. I mean, it's bad for them.
you know, and again, I'm not here to dunk on them or their fan base or anything like that. But I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, we kind of see what's in front of them. That's why, you know, the angle that I was kind of talking about and taking the night, simply put, is just I'm seeing a little too much from the fan base and the idea of, well, we can do all these different things. We can sit this guy, we can play this guy. I'm like, it's still a damn game to go play here. You still have to play the game. Let's be clear in that standpoint. No matter what you think and where this Giants team is and who's out, what's going on, I get that. But you still got to go play the game. You can't just automatically walk into this thing and be like, well, you know, Sweetie said it best. And I saw this take two from somebody. I don't know who had it. Hey, make sure Trey Lance is number 2 this week and get him worked into the game. Huh?
Nah, it doesn't matter what the record of your opponent is. This is a crucial stretch. And as right, you got to handle your business. Like, dude, I do not give a I don't care if the opponent we were facing was like winless at this point. It doesn't matter. They're a professional football team, and they can still put work in. Listen, I know we're all thinking the same thing. They're all trash. We get it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and be like the Giants are a good team. But that's the thing. Good teams understand the assignment and take care of business. That's it. And I mean, the problem is we kind of had the same conversation last year where it was like, is this the team we have? And at some point you kind of have, again, I'm not excusing poor performance, but sometimes you just got to live with it. And you're just like, fingers crossed, this thing doesn't fall apart. And you have better pieces than last year, just calling it how I see it. But I don't know. There's like analysts talking about, oh, here comes Tony Pollard. He'll have a great. I don't know, but it's just frustrating because it's let's
put the block on that for a second, because we right, Dom and the Spoon and everyone, we kind of talked about this a few minutes ago, and you know, he's had the 12 carries, he's averaging 4.2 to 4.4, right? It's not all kind of built the same within those last 2 games, right? But you have the running back coach and run game coordinator back in the building. Let me ask the question. Let me put it with the panel here. Have you seen a difference in the run game from before he got back and after he got back? As far as schematically, have they checked maybe a little more to the outside somewhat, maybe? But I haven't seen a dramatic change, Dom. What about you?
Only thing that really stood out to me is you're starting to see a little bit more counter type action. And it seems like they're trying to set up more for those type of, like, you know, stretch, cut back type things, opening up the lane on the backside. Hopefully them using their ability to be able to pick up some of those yards. Other than that, I haven't seen much. Of course, Dak has just been taking that thing and running with it. You've seen a couple of RPOs instituted. Last week, I would have hoped that they would have gotten at least 3 jet sweeps in. They did 1, but left Sweat, you know, free, and he was able to cause us to kind of bubble it out a little bit. But I think if you'd have went back to the well on that, it would have worked. CD, he was in the backfield a couple of times. He got a nice pass coming out of it. We've been asking for that Texas route, and you use it with CD, which is nice. But do that with the running backs, to use that pass game as an extension of the run in a sense. But overall, schematically, I haven't seen much of any change, to be honest, because even with the offensive line, they're still blocking it up the same way, and they're just struggling with their combo blocks. It's kind of dumbfounding to see. Like, I don't even think that's a coaching thing. It's just you haven't caught the lightning in a bottle yet. You haven't seen the big change happen. But no, I haven't seen anything quite different.
And this is the part of the equation that I'm like, okay, look, right? Things are happening. Things are getting installed, right? You want to be better late than early. And, you know, the problem for Zach Martin right now, you know, as now some of the whispers are, oh, he maybe we're seeing the slide, right? Maybe there's some of that happening. But I'm like, brother, to his left, he ain't getting no help from Biotish. To his right, he's not getting no help from Steele. And as we're talking about, you know, the blocking scheme or whatnot, man, we're looking, and again, this is, I'm not here to, well, Steele's trash and all. That's not where I'm at. I think a lot of it is the injury and what's happened in taking a little bit of time. But as far as like the schematical things, pass block is pass blocking. And the way that he's getting beat in that realm, that's really what worries me more than anything about him right now. Because sometimes not only is whether it's outside or inside, and they found something. They found something. If they just got him off pitch a little bit, the inside was going to open wide open. Like they knew that and really attacked it in the second half. I'm worried more about the mental side for him and the confidence side of things that can happen with a player like that coming back from the injury, and I just need, and I know it's happening in house, right? It's like, hey, trust, look, you know who you are, injury, work through it, but it's definitely, I know it's frustrating for him as we're talking about it as well, too, because seeing him dominate, you're talking about last year. So that's what we get to. It's a scheme. Is it health? What's happening? I just think it's where as much people want to talk about his hands and everything else, and Dom, maybe you could shed some light here. When your lower extremities aren't right, it leads to problems up here.
It's all got to be connected, really. I mean, if one thing is off, it's all going to be off. So for him, the biggest thing is I don't think he's trusting his left side, which is where the injury occurred. And so a lot of that reported from camp telling y'all, our offensive tackles, whether it's starters or depth guys, when they're getting beat, where are they getting beat? It's on inside moves all day long. And so you tend to hope that, man, maybe the idea of them trying to attack, trying to do the peekaboo jump out and then latch on, maybe that's hurting some. And then we starting to see in these little press conferences, little things coming out where they're starting to say, well, maybe we should give him a little bit of help. It is the injury, him having to overcome that psychologically. They all know it. And then, somebody put it out. I can't remember who it was. It could have been No C or Clarence. Somebody put it out. But the idea where we heard the whispers of him potentially moving inside to guard, that kind of creeping back. And it's like, well, maybe there was some credence to that thought of theirs, because look how difficult it's been for him all season at the right tackle spot. And so maybe you can mask it a little bit if he did move inside. But you got Tyler there starring, doing a great job. Tyron's come back and just killing it. So you ain't going to move him into Zach's spot and flip them. So that's the only place you can have him. And I don't know if anybody else can be able to step in and do as good of a job as he's doing at right tackle. So right now you are stuck with Terrence, and he's just got to get some things right. But then you got to scheme it in a way to be able to help support him. I know we don't run the 12 personnel as much as we did back in the 2016 season, where you got your two tight ends. Maybe you can run a little bit more of that. Maybe you can have your running back chip some. We're doing a lot of empty sets this season compared to what we've seen them do, but they're having a great success out of that. But
let that cook.
So you gotta find a way. How do you help him? Because also what teams are starting to do to Dallas on the defensive side to stop us is they're using a lot of 5-man fronts. And what they're doing with that is trying to confuse our offensive line, because you don't know where that 5th man is coming. So you got to account for him, though. So it's almost like one-on-one for your entire offensive line to be able to face somebody on that defensive side, and yet they'll bring the pressure somewhere else and drop a guy and do some stunts up front. So they got to get it together. And Terrence Steele, he's the number one guy that we have to get right, because if we can get him right, then you can see this offense really start to click. Because if you watch the film against Philly, Dak had a number of guys open. Our receivers, including Gallup, they were getting open. They were finding spots. They were beating their guys just mano a mano. But you can't use still shots, and you can't just say, well, why didn't Dak go there? Because that's where the pressure is coming from. And so You want to throw where guys are open and where your first reads are, and maybe your second read, and go through that progression. So you can't just use some of the shots we're seeing from all 22 and stuff to just think Dak should have saw that. So teams are trying to quickly get pressure on us, confuse us up front, and you just hope that, man, can you give Dak just a little bit longer to process it all, see your second and third reads because it's there. And so that was, I guess, the silver lining for me. We played a good game. They played tough. Dak is still on. He's seeing it. Now, if you can just protect him some, this team can be scary down the stretch.
10-4. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to join, we got the pinned at the top. You're more than happy to join. I'll get back to the question. I know I kind of got off kilter there, but I had to jump in. Like, I want to get a little bit of talk from you there. Spoon, as we're getting our offensive, our running back and running back coach and run game coordinator back, are you seeing things any differently? Does it kind of feel the same to you, or where are you at right now?
For me, it feels the same, and that's the problem. Again, we should have learned from Michael Gallup. When you come back from an injury, your first year, you're not always going to be. You may not be mentally prepared, or you may not be there physically. It takes about a year, and that's a lot of injuries that we have seen across the board in the NFL. So again, with Tony Pollard, we understand he's on the tag. We understand he's making that $10 million, but at the same time, you should want to protect him as well. You want him for the long haul. You want the same Tony Pollard, the same type of running back was hitting explosive runs the way we had it with Zeke. So for me, nothing has changed. What should change is Rico Dowdle getting some carries and them recognizing that maybe Tony Pollard is just not it to be that bell cow. We heard Tony Pollard, one of the interviews, come out and said that normally a run like I just had is a touchdown. But it's not a touchdown. That's what I got to work on. So for me, that's something that these coaching staffs should recognize right there and there.
Right.
But we understand Tony Pollard, this is his first year as the lead back. Yes, he had a couple of games last year that Zeke missed. The Chicago Bears, he had a great game. But what did we learn in that game? Don't give him past 16 carries. He's not it. At the same time, with Rico Dowdle, we could now try to discover what he has in the tank. We've seen Mike McCarthy really talk him up, really convince, Tony Pollard, Rico Dowdle's this guy. I believe him. Well, we want to see. We need more than 2 carries. And last week, when he had a big carry and it was called back, that should tell you want to keep feeding him. Maybe he'll be the one. Keep feeding him. He's the better back that game. And for me, it hasn't changed, but those are the things I would like to see moving forward at the running back position.
Ricardo?
I believe he came back, a run game corner, came back for the Chargers game, right? Am I correct in that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't like doing the stat watch because sometimes it doesn't tell you the whole story, but, we kind of reminisce how effective we were. The Chargers game, you rushed for 96 yards on 26 carries, 3.7 yards per average, and your longest gain was a Dak Prescott run for a touchdown, and then if you really want to count it, Brandon Cooks' end around for 14. Your running back had, I think their longest carry was 7 yard, rush up the middle, right? Then you go to the Rams game, 102 yards. Pollard's longest rush is 13 yards, 26 carries. But again, it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't need the stat sheet to be like, I need to see a 100-yard rusher every single time. Mm-hmm. And then you go to this game against the Eagles, 21 carries, 73 yards. The problem is that it's frustrating because this guy comes back and it feels like nothing has fundamentally changed. It feels what's happened is we're doing the same things, or we see something work and we get away from that. We've talked about it in plenty of spaces, and I'm pretty sure you guys have talked about it on plenty of live streams where it's like your offensive line's not doing their part in some regard, but also it's on Tony Pollard and him not making the correct read when there is a I'm watching Rico Dowdle hit the correct hole, and you're seeing those chunk yards come in bunches. For Pollard, I don't know if he feels comfortable making these cuts here and there because if I don't want someone to fall on my leg again, or even if you run him out to the outside, it just feels like I just don't feel like it's just that uncomfortable nature to how he's running. And I don't know. I don't think he's lost a step. I think it's more so mentally where he needs to go with the ball. That's where I think the problem is. And I think where you miss, and I'm not saying we necessarily miss Ezekiel Elliott, it's the fact that when Zeke had the ball, you're just, boom, just it doesn't matter. You're running up that fucking middle. Not saying that's the smartest thing, but the point is vision's very important, and it's killing this run game. It's not that the coaching's a problem. To an extent, I think your scheme has some issues, but I think it's more so execution. Really, I mean, we talked about okay, when the offensive line gets back, the run game will kick back up. Well, the offensive line's intact, and you're still having the same issues.
Yeah,
I think it's a running back issue, and where I think you kind of got screwed was that you invest. No shade to Deuce Vaughn. It's just you're not giving these other dudes opportunities. And Rico's I'm the biggest Rico Dowdle fan you could find, but you're not giving him those carries, man. And he knows where to go with the football. And with Tony, I know he can know where to go with the football, but he's just not showing you that. Like, you got to try something different. I don't have a problem if he starts. I have a problem of who's getting carries. Because, 12 carries. 12 carries. 15 carries, and you're giving most of the other carries to Dak on, whether he's taking it himself or whatever. That's something that's of note. Dak's been running the ball more since this dude's come back. I'm not saying he's fully responsible, but Jerry did say something really important that really I didn't think he would say ever. Using Dak Prescott to set the tone offensively, which I'm like, Jerry, I don't know if you just got your good meds now and you're saying these that's my thing, is that it's an efficiency problem from an execution standpoint. And if this is fixable, but like I said earlier, if this is what we have, you're going to run into problems in the postseason when you get there, because you need to go on those long drives. And I think the Texas Coast part, and I'll end here, utilizing the passing game with your running backs, which I haven't seen those, the screens we were running, I think, versus Arizona and a couple times versus the Jets and stuff.
That disappeared.
It's just gone. And bring that back, man. I think that you need to find ways to get your running backs involved. I don't need them to rush for 100 yards, 200 yards a game. That'd be nice. But you're not giving them ample opportunities to make this effective. So,
yeah, I think here's one thing that gives me hope going into this game when it comes to Tony Pollard. And there was a run outside, Smith pulls, and he gets hit. And when I say hit by NFL terms, and I ain't talking about us normal people, we're talking about NFL terms, okay? The guy basically threw his arm out there and got him and knocked him out of bounds. And I was like, right then and there in real time when I tweeted, I was like, bro, you got to be kidding me. Yeah. You should turn this up. That dude literally, he didn't even get a shoulder.
He should have had a first down or at minimum 8 yards on that play.
Not even a shoulder in him. He just threw his arm out there, hit him with the arm bone, and he went out of bounds, stumbled and went out of bounds. I was like, oh, that's a problem. But what I watched after that, the next 2 runs from Tony Pollard, and then of course the game kind of got to a certain point where they were really just throwing the rock. It's maybe the 2 best runs I've seen from Tony Pollard all year. From an explosion standpoint, okay, I'm getting the ball and I'm going. I'm like, oh, I didn't know Tony Pollard could still run that way. And I'm hoping, and why I asked the question about the running back coach and coordinator is, I wonder did he see it the same way I did, said, brother, that's not it, hey, or maybe Tony Pollard even, looked at it, okay, I need to do better. All those, the next 2 runs from Tony Pollard were some of the hardest, fiercest runs that I've seen from him all season, and it happened immediately after that arm kind of knocked him out of bounds and what went down. I'm like, maybe that's the turning point for him moving forward. Not saying that it is, but I'm like, okay, I saw something happen that it clicked on for him, maybe to a certain extent, at least in the way he did it.
seemed like
I
he was
remember.
pissed off. Go ahead.
I remember the exact exchange that you're talking about because, to y'all in the back channels, you were doing your thing though, but in the back channels was like, Tony got to get more yards than that. Like, there's
Right.
no way you can only pick up. I think it was like a 2-yard pickup where he got just hit out of bounds. They were running to the left, but then he pops it on the 15-yarder to the right side. But then there was another run thereafter to the left, where it was like the old contact balance that Tony Pollard is known for, where he just kind of ping pongs off, where most guys are going to go down. He's keeping a wide base. He kept a wide base. And that's what you haven't been able to see a lot out of him. It's him getting his feet together a lot on plays where he can't really even cut back and find that lane, or he's easily, hog-tied. So to see him finally start to put it together, it's like, all right, we need to see more of that. So maybe it's just giving him more reps in game, keep that confidence going, and then, but yet feeding the other guy behind him, where's that healthy competition going on inside the game for your 2 running backs. But you got to find a way to get 23 involved.
Facts. And the other thing too, which is crazy, Space, is that the Eagles had the ball for 9 minutes and 22 seconds in the third quarter.
Right.
They didn't, and they still didn't have time of possession over a minute from them within a minute, which is nuts. And the Cowboys in the 10 play drives and everything, which was kind of prior to this new Dak throwing it forward. And I'm right there with you, what you're talking about. And they tried to run the one screen, and Martin and Bialis just didn't get out there. And that's the thing to me. I'm like, we gotten away from getting to these running backs in these different spaces. Look, we run some tight end screens, some different things. We're just not doing that anymore. And I think, look, if your running game, and this is what I want to see against the Giants. If the running game is still going to have the same kind of struggles that it's having, then you absolutely need to use some of that stuff to facilitate it. The quick pass game to the running backs, the screen game. So there's more than one way to skin a cat, if you will. So if the running game isn't evolving the way that we want to see it, cool. Then get into some of these short passing. Brandon Cooks. Look, if y'all are having a problem getting the rock, he's
you could literally
fast, right?
You could do the same plays with him. Like,
just hit him and let him go do some things with his speed.
And that's my thing, man, is that the run game is, to me, is not just straight up, I handball off, you run up middle.
That part.
No, it's all these other elements. That's part of this West Coast shit, is that you are getting the ball in space to a dude like Tony Pollard who has speed. You saw a touchdown get scored by Rico Dowdle on the same type of play. It's effective. And I don't know, like, that's something they're like, well, I don't know if we have an opportunity to do that, or they're trying to let Dak cook a certain way. But it's just so annoying to me because, it's just, I don't know what you can do. And I don't know if it's just the stubborn nature of like, well, I'm running this bitch up the middle because it's cowboy football brand, whatever. Right. But no, that's something we've gone away from. And I get it. Dak's cooking. And that's the biggest focal point this season that we wanted to see, was this passing game come alive, which it has. Granted, you're not getting the ball to certain people, and there are some people that are getting on my nerves. Gallup, but the run game, it's going to be huge because these 10-play drives, they were nice, and you're going, like, that's something that beat you in this game, ironically, was you got a 9 or 10-play drive that took up 9 minutes, or I don't know, I got to go back and look, but point being is that's huge. And the reason why this run game, last thing I'll say on this whole run game thing, the reason you need to get it going is Dak Prescott, while he's made amazing throws in these games, you're asking him to play perfect football for you to win and bail you out of these 3rd and longs, 3rd and 8s or whatever. Tony Pollard not getting 4 yards because of his failure to recognize something, or whoever's fault it is, that leads to the rest of your decision making. In fact, it leads to the rest of your decision making on 4th down when it's a 4th and 1, or if it's 4th and short. And so if you're going to win and you're going to make Dak cook, you need to put him in the best position possible and not force him to win. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we all have faith that he's shown that he can do it. He's gotten comfortable again. But
he's
now,
on a 3-game stretch. It's
bro, he's getting hot at the right time. In the sense of the mid-season form coming along, but now it's this run game's turn to be effective, to set him up properly, like we did earlier in the season.
And Spoon, that's why this game matters, and why you need to play the guys that need to be played. As we went on that, I'm gonna borrow this term from my guy's face. That soliloquy that we all went on there, okay, about the run game and what's been happening. This is why you don't sit people, and you got the Giants up here. And you need to get these things corrected at these times right now, and why this Giants game matters. And these guys need to be on point and do their thing.
I want to see more stretch plays. Get us in 12 personnel.
In my Nick Saban voice, we ain't going to do it. So quit asking.
That's all I need. That's all I need.
I'm with you. Look, I don't disagree with you. By any stretch.
Mexico has a question.
All right.
Do you guys feel that it's a crazy question. Do you guys feel that if they start giving more carries to Dowdle, that is a way of saying that we made the wrong call by tagging Pollard or anything like that? Do you guys feel that maybe they want to cover themselves up by not doing that?
Well, here's the thing that Mike McCarthy said. He said he's comfortable where Rico's at right now. Take that for what you will. Coach, speak, or whatever. He also spoke about Brandon Cooks. He says, I don't play fantasy football. So take that for what you will when it comes to that. Look, here's the thing about it, right? And to your question about being right or wrong or whatever the case may be in that stretch. I just don't think it's that way. And look, maybe I'm blinded. Maybe I am. Look, I'll just give you my perspective. Maybe my blinders are on. I don't, and I understand money plays, right? Like we always talk about that. And I think a lot of times we talk about it in the idea that Cowboys are the only team that does money plays. It's not true. It's around the league. The entire league, the money plays. But we're very close to it, so all the money plays. We're watching in real time. The money don't play when it comes to Michael Gallup. We're watching the last 2 weeks. We're watching the snap share change. Didn't they sign somebody this week at wide receiver, by the way?
Yep.
There's things that are happening at the wide receiver position. It doesn't mean money ultimately plays. I'll give you another example. Didn't they draft a guy in the second round this year at tight end?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we're doing the money plays, that fourth round guy's playing over him and doing a damn good job. So I think it's not always that way. Now, obviously, franchise tag, maybe a little bit more money, not the wide receiver room, but the tight end room, right? We're the nickels and pennies don't add up the same. But when we're talking about the money plays, if you will, they're just not giving. Look, forget it would be different.
Can we see Armstrong?
Nobody's getting a chance. Look, nobody's getting a chance. Let's be honest. Like, it's not like, well, the money's playing, so they're going to get their lion's share. Like, nobody's getting a chance. You know, realistically, that's really what it kind of boils down to in that stretch. So I don't think, and look, and if I'm wrong on space and Dom, I don't mean to speak for y'all. If y'all think differently, by all means, chime in. I don't think any of us are talking about, well, it needs to be Rico carrying the ball 15, 20 times and Pollard be a 10 carry guy. Right? Because then the money looks funny, right? I think where we're trying to come from is give the 12 carries. Space, and before you got to hear me and Dom talked about it a little earlier, we talked about this in training camp and everything else. We didn't want to see, Pollard end up with 20 carries per game. We were like, hey, 17 touches between runs and catches, great. So 12 carries for Pollard is fine. We just need to see about 7-ish to 10 maybe from Rico as well. That's where I land at. So I don't think it's money, Spoon. Personally, I don't think it's money. And I could be wrong on that, to your question.
No, right. And I think for me, at least, like, I can only speak for myself here. And again, hindsight's always 20/20, and we didn't know what the hell we were going to get, right? And my thing is that with Pollard, for me, I've gone to the position, you don't pay your running backs. Just don't. There's no point unless the contract is like a cheap 3-year or not a cheap, but it's a short-term deal where you can get out of it soon. We all know how things are going in that realm. But for me, I wanted the Cowboys to invest. I would have rather they've used. Call me crazy. I would have rather they used that second round pick on a running back than the tight end. Like there were plenty of dudes like Achane. There was definitely dudes. I'm trying to look at the list. There's like Achane, Spears, you name it. Now, granted, you know, in terms of the fit, of course, we don't know and what they would have done. But I know why they took Schoon, because they were concerned about the people behind Ferguson, specifically Peyton Hendershot. And I think, yeah, I mean, my thing is that people also say, oh, did you make a mistake in letting Zeke go? I don't think so. It's just a matter of what did you do after that? If you were like, okay, we don't need Zeke because we have a guy in Rico Dowdle, for example, right? Then you need to give him those carries. It feels like you're just giving Pollard the ball because he's getting paid the money. And I'm not saying it's like that in behind the scenes. Maybe McCarthy's just like, I'm saving Rico for later in the season because, as we know, he has an injury history in his past. There's a reason why he hasn't made this roster before. Now, you do have a guy, Malik Davis, on your practice squad, and maybe if you really wanted to, well, also, I'm forgetting another dude, Hunter Lipke. If you really felt like, by the way, if you want a short yardage dude or a guy that can play power, this dude can do it. He's shown. I understand the sample size is small, but you are not doing yourself any favors at all. You're not. You don't have a dude back there that's just going to be like, I'm going to run this bitch up the middle. I don't care. I'm not saying that's the smartest approach, but you I'm just, you know, it's just so frustrating because it's like, like if we could have had speed and like see people will be asking me, well, Space, if you drafted Devon Achane or you drafted some of these other dudes that had speed, they're not. It's not the moral of that. It's the fact of you have a younger dude that has more tread on his tire. I'm telling you, man. Like I would have rather they've used that second round pick on a running back, and you know. Deuce Vaughn, nice story and all, but like you're kind of, you know, I was kind of hoping you could have found something there. Maybe he just needs a little bit more time, but you're like, you have options. Like, remember last year, I believe when I think Zeke didn't play in the Packers game or something like that. And I hate using a 1-game sample size, but it's just ideas I'm floating around because I'm just trying to find solutions, you know? You had Pollard and Malik kind of just split carries, if I'm mistaken, and like Malik was running draw plays. Pollard was running draw plays too, but like you weren't afraid to do it then and split carries. Now all of a sudden it's a problem. I don't know if he's just protecting Rico or but it just feels like a mess.
I mean,
man.
To your point, yeah. I mean, and to your point, right? I mean, Rico's already had a hip, you know, contusion. You know, on the break and stuff like that. That's fine. But scary money don't make money. Is where I'm at. I mean, just give him some touches or give somebody else some touches. And look, I think we're going to go back to Deuce Vaughn anyways. Once he had a bad showing in pass pro, not just bad showing, I mean, it was atrocious. And from that point forward, they're like, well, the Deuce Vaughn experience is over. But that's neither here nor there. Go right ahead, Dom.
Man.
It's like I feel you.
I don't even want to talk about redraft.
No. I'm sorry. Whoa, Dom. We ain't go back to the first round. Whoa. Hold on, Dom. Hold on. Easy, fella. He just said he would have taken a running back in the second round. That's all. We ain't gotta go. No. Don't. I know. Okay. Now y'all got Dom going. Now. Whoa. It's okay, Dom. We're not. Woosah. I feel pretty.
Now that they are Cowboys, we will root for these guys. They are our guy. Mozzie is our guy. We know he's going to be great next year.
He's coming along.
He may show you a little bit end of this year. Schoonmaker, he is tight end 3 on the team. He will come along. He will be okay for next year.
We're off the rails now.
Overshown. He looked promising in preseason. We will see him next year. I don't even remember who our 4th round person was.
Junior Fahoko.
Fiocco.
We haven't seen him this year. We will see him next year. Awesome Richard, my left tackle 10, 5th round pick. We will see him next year.
Hey, we've started this year though.
We will see him next year. Eric Scott traded up.
Traded back in. No, we didn't trade up. We traded back in.
Back
That's why
in.
we didn't have
That's why we
that
lost
5th
ours.
round pick. There you go.
We will see you in 2 years. Man.
I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, the fact of the matter is
We're just talking running game, though.
Listen, no, but I mean, the thing is that it's clear as day that this draft, and even I think I said it day one. I'm like, dude, this is for people like that. You're gonna have impact a year or two down the road, which fine. They got intangibles. We like our guys, but the thing that bugs me the most is just that, sure, next year you're going to have a lot of certainty. Listen, we're going to see a lot of shakeup on some parts of this team. You're going to probably need a new center. You're probably going to need a new wide receiver. Well, maybe not. You're probably going to need all the shit. But hey, you know what? Here's the thing, though. There are promising stuff. I mean, I feel like the linebacker problem. I mean, Leighton Vander Esch has been out. It doesn't feel like I'm like, oh, well, it doesn't feel like his impact's there. But not saying he's trash, but
I don't think he's coming back this year.
It feels like he's not coming back because if he was coming back, he would be back
this year.
But nah, man, I just, I mean, I don't know what else. It's just this team, man. Like I don't know. I mean, I'm looking.
Okay.
I mean, like,
wait. Pause.
Listen,
we were talking. Wait, no, Linda, listen. We were talking about run game, and somehow this went to the drafts. What's going on next year? Let me hold on. Let me. Barry's not here, right?
I'll do
Barry's
it for
not
you.
here, Spoon.
I'll do it for you. I'm
trying to rope it. Let me bring it back.
We winning the Super Bowl.
there you go.
We winning this Super Bowl.
Hey,
But
hey, yo.
We gonna get this thing together. We gonna get it together. This run game, these next 3 weeks is gonna get it together. Terrence Steele, he ain't gonna be all the way back to what he was last year pre-injury, but he gonna get himself together. Your head coach is gonna be a better in-game manager of time. Speed that thing up. Have a more sense of urgency with the quarterback getting the plays in, getting out of the huddle. No more of these 9-minute drives when you really need them to be 4 to 5 minute drives. The defense is actually going to step up and not give up, touchdowns on the very first drive of the game and then the very first drive of the second half. We're going to finally get this thing right with the penalties. We're going to win this thing. However, in the midst of, you got to be real.
Oh,
Okay,
man.
I mean, I'm okay with being real. We're talking about the Johnson the run game. I'm just saying we just y'all
Johnson.
draft.
I don't know if we're
Y'all
gonna. I actually don't know if we're gonna get it together this week. It's gonna be an interesting week.
Should I just crank up? Do I need to just go crank up the mock draft simulator now? Is that what y'all really want to do?
Yeah, pick 32.
Listen, let's get this shit wrong. But no, man, listen.
Pick 32, baby.
I want to before we put to Dom's point. Listen, let's just be honest. When I'm watching the film and I'm looking at how things are, it's not like you don't have the things to fix these problems. Like last year, like with last year, it was like, well, shit, you don't have another pass catcher. Your defense has made improvements depth wise. I just think a lot of it is execution, and if you know me, I would rather this shit not be peaking early than later. I would rather it happen later. And it's fixable. I think we've gone through, like, the Steele situation. I remember in 2020, we thought that this dude was like, what the fuck are we doing? But he got it together. Now, like Dom said, I don't think he's going to get to the Pro Bowl, All-Pro type of level yet. wherever. I don't know. Thanks, Dalton Schultz. But my thing is that I'm okay with where we're at. This team's 5-3. I thought this team would be 5-3 at this point. I don't take pleasure in saying that because we lost 3 games, but it's not the end of the world like some other Cowboys fans are saying. Like, oh, it's over. We lost to the Eagles. It's no, dude. I got a bold take, and I don't know if anyone's gonna believe me on this.
Oh shit!
When we play the Eagles again in December, I think December,
Yeah, you got it.
we will have the same record.
You know what, Space? I'm
Watch.
close. Space. May I add something to that, please?
Sure, go for it.
So I want to ask you guys this. When the Cardinals beat the Cowboys, how many games did the Cardinals lose after the Cowboys game?
They haven't won one yet.
Yeah.
That's fine. There you go. Okay. When the 49ers lost when the 49ers, beat the Cowboys, how many games did they lose? 3.
They haven't won one yet.
Yeah. So Philadelphia Eagles, you beat the Cowboys, right? Hey, Space is onto something.
I'm telling you, man.
I
I'm
agree
telling
with
you.
it. I totally agree. December 10th. See,
Well-
here's another thing.
All
We were supposed to go to the game this week. We didn't go to the game this week. Maybe December 10th, we're all going to try to go. But here's the kicker. Maybe the football guys put that there for a reason. No. See, this is a light meal. Let's go to the heavy meal. And BJ, you know how we represent the Cowboys when it's against the Philadelphia Eagles. In a big spotlight in Jerry's world, teams are tied up for division lead. The winner gets division lead. Well, guess what? Maybe it's for a reason. And I'm with Space. I believe by the time we play the Cowboys, the Eagles, we will either be tied or we'll be one game ahead.
Well, here's where I'm at, and I've been big on this on Twitter here on the show as well too. Is I'm not worried about starting off strong, right? We've seen that time and time again. It's about hitting your stretch and getting there. You're 8 games in now. You have to start picking up the pace now, right? 5-3, whatever it is, everything's in front of you, but you have to start picking up the pace now. We're seeing the quarterback pick up the pace the last 3 games, right? We need to see the running game start picking up the pace. Offensive line, especially on the right side. Like now is when things we've seen the tight end, get his opportunities to have happened, right? Now is when you got to start hitting it, right? Because now you're going into game 9 here against a divisional foe that you already blew out. That's in a bad way. You should take care of business here to get yourself to 6-3, okay, and get this thing really rolling now. And this is where you have to start the run, right? This is where, as we talked about, hey, it's about how you get hot down the stretch. You need to start with those building. I think there's some building blocks here that we've talked about, but now other things have to clean themselves up too and start really moving this thing forward in that realm. But with that being said, I got Rhodes in the building. Rhodes, how we doing on this fine Friday afternoon? It's late now.
Good, guys. And I gotta say, shout out to Dom and Space. I agree. We're winning the Super Bowl.
I wish I was called TC.
I also agree with Space. When we play the Eagles in December, we'll be tied at that point with them.
10-4.
TC.
10-4. What's in the cup, Dom? The people want to know.
I like it.
Just a little Simply Lemonade, baby.
Now you know he got something else in there.
Pastor
That
don't
man's
drink.
recovering. He's recovering.
Pastor don't drink.
Oh, there it is.
I don't
that.
drink either.
I can't do
He
that.
told you. Gene, don't do that. Hey, man said I cried myself to sleep about the Cowboys. Can't do that.
Dude, this is not
Can't
as
do
bad
that.
as it was years ago, dude. You mean,
Oh,
listen, man, let me tell you something. I would rather be contending for like going deeper in the postseason than just praying to God we actually get a chance to get in the postseason like the last administration. So trust me, it's a much better position we're in than last time. Not saying, hey, the shit we've done along the way with this Mike McCarthy experience, not everything's been perfect, but I'm
Right.
telling you, we're in a much better position than we were before.
Man, I told you, man, Mike McCarthy. I told you before the season started, Mike McCarthy, he's a 12-5 coach. Means we're losing 2 games the rest of the way. 12-5, baby.
I mean, just
Going
think about this though, for real. Philly, everybody's saying that they're the best team in the league right now.
And
Yeah.
Do y'all feel like they're leaps and bounds better
Nope.
than what
No.
our guys had?
I don't. No, I think they got. I think that they've deserved the moniker. However,
Yeah.
But my problem is the one possession games they've been winning, and it's like,
Oh, one hand, you got to turn it down in the background, brother.
there we go. Like they aren't like the same roster as this team that I'm going to mention. I mentioned in previous spaces. They
Right.
remind me so much of the Vikings from last year, bro, where they're winning these one possession games, and they deserve the 8-1 record. I'm not trying to take that away from them.
Right.
Right.
However, I think Eddie might have said it in a space we're in. Like, I could be wrong. Someone said it. You're gonna end up having a game where it's close and you lose that. Like, these close games aren't really I'm not trying to take away you winning close games. Like, if we won a close game, awesome. But there's something different about this Eagles squad that's in front of us, and they're labeled as the best team. Like, to me, none of these teams, like, I'm not scared to play anybody at all.
And that's just a league this year. Yeah, I'm with you. That's just a league this year. It's just a different, we're seeing things happening. It seems like how they're taking the L's, no matter who you think the best team is here or there. It's just different in that realm. I agree there. It's now the thing to be said about it is they're finding ways to do that. And that's what the Cowboys look. They did it against the Chargers, but Cardinals and of course the Eagles they wasn't able to. So Cowboys got to figure that out a little bit.
Real
And
quick,
with that being said, go ahead.
every big team has just an
Bad
ugly
L's.
loss.
Yeah.
Ugly loss.
Yep.
So
Big facts.
nobody's too far ahead of anyone at this point.
Nobody's bulletproof. Yeah, nobody's bulletproof. Look, just look at if you want to talk about MVP right now, it's muddy. There's nobody out here where you're like, oh well, these guys. Look, right now Cincinnati's hot, right? They're super hot. But I mean, okay, but we saw the start. Okay, they're hot. Kansas City with things are happening with them. Miami looks like world beaters, but then they lose, some games to other teams. Like there's nothing out here right now that says this team is hotter than fish grease or whatever is happening. Nobody's immune right now.
It's
The one
time
thing that I
for
do like, and that's the one thing I do like when it comes about Dak. We're talking about the last 3 games, but everything he's done this season, I mean, he's number 1 on 3rd and 4th down. Go dial up the numbers, and that's a difference maker. If that continues that kind of run, hey man, there's going to be a different conversation about him pretty soon as this thing moves forward. But again, there's nothing right now where you look at, sure, the San Francisco L is what it is, but they look different. Whether the tape's out on their guy or whatever's going on. So by Brock Purdy, I don't know. They had some injuries, whatever. Guess what? We've had injuries. Those things happen. But outside of that, you just gotta look around. I mean, who's the squad right now? As we're basically at the halfway point of the year to almost there, is like, oh man, you got to worry about them. There's things to worry about from teams, but there's not this ultimate juggernaut that we're looking at around here. It's really about the Cowboys just now coming out of this 5-3. Okay, how do you turn forward now at this midway moment, and now have the opportunity, as we've all kind of touched on around the way here, going against the Giants, then follow that up with Carolina, right? How do you position yourself versus the Eagles December 10th? And what are you able to do there? And if the Cowboys are positioning themselves the proper way and you go beat Philly, now it looks completely different than what it does right now. But with that being said, I'm going to spin the block here. All right, Don, give me the score. Who's going to win the game? Cowboys versus Giants.
Ooh. Cowboys versus Giants. I just don't see them putting up many points against us again. I don't know if we'll have the explosion. Give me 31-9 Cowboys.
All right. Spoonie, what you got? Cowboys versus Giants.
40-7.
40-7.
Excuse me, 40-6. Excuse me, 40-6.
40-6. Okay, 40-6. Ricardo, what's that score looking like to you?
I'm going to say 38-17. 17 points, or rather 14 of the 17 points coming in the late 3rd, 4th quarter.
Okay, row it. What you got for the score, man?
41-7 Cowboys.
All right, I got one-handeds up in the building. One-handed, how you doing this Friday?
Can you hear me all right?
Sure can, bud.
Yeah, okay. All right, just making sure.
You cut out.
Just like Betty was gone. Say it again.
I think we're winning 50-3.
Oh, 50 burger.
50 burger.
He put the
Mm.
50 burger out there.
Yep.
He put the 50
I'm
burger
sorry.
out there.
I just can't take them serious. They couldn't score anything when they had everyone healthy, and I just don't see it.
Mm.
Don't. I think it's gonna be. I think Dak's gonna be like over. He's gonna be like you get a touchdown. I think it's just gonna be a huge game like that.
Any
I
hot
see.
takes? Hot takes? Can we do some hot takes?
Well, I mean, can I get my score first?
Oh, yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thanks. Appreciate that, Spoon. Appreciate that, Spoon. Yeah, I think the Cowboys will get this win. 27-3.
Okay.
27-3. I think I think the Cowboys are going to get the run game going. I think they'll get the run game going. And maybe they want to put, if they're able to win the game, and we've seen this, maybe they will put Dak in too much harm's way with the pass rushers, right? They will look at what this team has, what they can bring to that team, what they can do. If there's not a reason to put Dak in harm's way and really open it up, maybe they don't do it nearly as much, but you can win comfortably, right? So, give me 27. Give me 27-3 Cowboys. But I want the 50 burger one-handed. I'm going to tell you right now, I do want the 50 burger.
Hell
I'll
yeah!
take the 50.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Would you be surprised if they changed Trey Lance off of the emergency QB and let him play if it got way out of hand?
I would be surprised, yes.
Yeah,
I would be surprised.
Yeah,
I really
would be
hope.
surprised.
I really hope in this game we see more Rico and Luke keep running the ball. And we've been saying that for weeks. I just hope that we start doing it more.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Spoonie wants to do a hot take. Spoon, since you want to do it, you must have one already. So, Spoon, go ahead and give us your hot take.
Well, the Philadelphia Eagles has the record for the most sacks in NFL history as a team in a game with 14 since 1952. My hot take is that the Dallas Cowboys.
Whoa. They didn't keep sacks in 1952, Spoonie.
You didn't? Well, I forgot the year.
No.
Who cares? Yeah, 14. We're gonna break the record. We're gonna break the record with 15 seconds. My hot take as a defense.
Okay. All right. Rosie,
I
you got a
have
hot take?
Yeah, I
I
got
have
a
a
hot
hot
take.
Well, hold on
so-
one handed. Let me get Rohit, and then I'll get you one handed. Go ahead,
All right.
Rohit.
Dak is going to throw 5 touchdowns on Sunday.
Okay. All right. One handed. What's your hot take?
So from the injury report, it looks like Turpin's not going to be playing Sunday. From just him not participating at all. I believe that Deuce is going to take the place of being a returner, and he's going to take one to the house.
All right. Hey, I don't know what fares on hot
What
take Giants win.
He
Man, boo,
he got
man,
he
like
got
this.
paid by Big Solar to say that.
Yeah. Big Solar paid him, man. Get this dude up, man. Hey, mods, what y'all doing, man? Do something with this cat. Yeah, what is going on? TC, I'm sorry for fact checking. My fault. we try to run a clean show around here. He said 1952. I'm like, they didn't keep sacks back then. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm sorry. Ricardo, you got a hot take for the game?
Oh, here's one. I had to think I had to think hard about this one. Micah Parsons has a pick 6 in this game.
Oh, wow.
I love that.
Okay.
That's
love
a
that.
great one.
That's a great
Okay.
one.
I love
Okay. All right, Dom, you got a hot take?
Tony Pollard gets over 125 yards. Not total, rushing.
I like it.
Well,
I like it.
well,
Yeah.
damn it, Dom. Way to take my hot take. And he actually rounded up. I was going to say Tony Pollard's going to have 120 yards rushing, but he went with 125. He even went up me. So I'll pivot off that. I'll give you a different hot take. Deron Bland has 2 pick 6s.
Oh,
That's a
I
good
like
one.
it.
Yeah. That's a good one right there.
I mean, I might as well swing for the fences at this moment.
Listen,
Who cares?
we are playing Danny DeVito's cousin. God damn it! If we can listen, I swear to God, if we make this dude look like the second coming of Joe Montana, I'm going to lose my mind because you have no excuse for not making this dude look the way he should be. And
Hey, look, I mean, let me ask you this, right, Ricardo? Look,
Mhm.
look. The only opportunity they're going to have to be in this game, right, besides playing stellar defense, is Saquon Barkley, right?
It's
Right.
I mean, I don't know, but we're at the halfway point of the season, which is crazy
Yeah.
to say how fast. I wanted to get your thoughts because I've been trying to get like a temperature of how the fan base is feeling. We would be the 6th seed. We'd play against San Francisco.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if we had wild card weekend, stands hold, and we see how things are playing out, how would you feel comfortable, or are you feeling like it's another law, like it's going to feel the same? Do you think that if we had to play San Francisco next week, how would you feel? Like, would you feel confident that we would win? Would you feel confident? I don't know.
I feel confident.
Yeah, I do too.
I
I
feel
don't know.
confident.
I don't know. Confident? Yes, I feel. Here's where I'm at. Yes, I feel more confident in the offense because I think Dak is. I think where they're at, Dak's figured out. Never mind, the things up front. I think Dak's on a different level because he's using his legs. That was the missing ingredient. And I ain't talking about design runs. He's more decisive using his legs, and when he does those things, that's what makes him dangerous. I don't know if Dan Quinn can stop their offense. I don't know. That's what's worrisome. I think yes, in the playoffs last year, did an adequate job. How he got cooked in that first game gives me pause a little bit. It just does. That worries me some. But look, keep it a buck. I felt confident going into the game, and we got blown out 42-10. So I wouldn't go in here and look like, oh God, we're playing them. Oh, woe is me, we're going to lose. I think you go in there and get your lick back. So I mean, but confident is such a term of how you view the confident. Where's that land at? Right? Look. I'm confident the Cowboys are going to beat the Giants. Am I as confident in the Cowboys beating the Niners? No.
I know what you mean.
I mean, yeah, you know what I'm saying. So no, but would I fear the matchup in the playoffs? No. It's the playoffs, man. You play good teams. No, I wouldn't fear it. And I think where the Cowboys are trending right now, and look, I mean, even talking about where San Francisco's trending right now. Yeah, I mean, I would like the chances. I wouldn't think like, okay, well, God, look, let me say it this way. Let me say it in a better way. Right here on November 10th at 10:06 p.m. Central Standard Time, or Texas time, as I like to call it, there's not one team in the NFL that I think the Cowboys can't beat. And those are just the facts. Doesn't mean they can win all the games, but there's not a single team, as we've played 8 games within this season, that I think the Cowboys can't beat. Okay. And especially if everything's clicking for them on all 3 fronts. I think easily, not even being a homer here, simply putting, whenever all 3 of the phases of this team is clicking, there's not been a better looking team this season, period. Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, from that level, from the team, I'm confident depending on how they show up, right? But there's nobody in the league right now that I don't think the Cowboys can beat. And I don't know if there was, I don't know the last time we could really say that.
My confidence level is a 3.
That's fair.
And here's the
3
reason
out of 5. I like it. 75%.
The reason I asked that question is because this is where you need to do your damage and win 4 in a row, or go 3-1, preferably 4 in a row. Why? Seattle's right in front of you. If we were to get in front of Seattle and get some NFC wins, we would be most likely playing the Saints in a wild card weekend. How much more confident would you feel if we were playing the Saints next week as opposed to the 49ers?
It'd be a blowout.
Barbecue chicken.
That's why
at 75% of my book, I ain't an educator. Leave me alone. Sorry.
That's why you get your business taken care of. So that way you get a better matchup, because if you were to get that matchup, I do believe you would beat the Saints. And then on top of that, because I think you have the better coach on all phases of that, I think you have the better roster. Then, assuming certain tiebreakers go your way, you would be going on the road to Philly if the season were to end today, because they have that bye week. And I'm pretty sure all of us feel a certain way about how we played, and we think we can win, right? So my thing is, if you're not going to be in position to win this division, which I think the Cowboys will, I've already said my hot take, you need to make sure you're in the best possible position to get the best matchup. If you don't want to play that San Francisco front, or if you don't, because Dan Quinn, I'm the same way. I don't know, dude. Win these next couple games. Make me at least confident that okay, we're not going to play San Francisco until at minimum the NFC Championship game if shit goes a certain way.
Right.
So that's just my little thing there to end it on why this game's important to win.
Hey, it's TC, don't bring. Did you tell me not to bring facts in here and let him have his take? Don't bring facts in here. Let me have my take, okay? TC, live by your own words there, sir. Go ahead, Spoon, before we get to the sermon.
Let me ask you guys a question. It's NFL question. It's about the Niners. So I have put my bets of the week. I have an upset of the week. I have the Jacksonville Jaguars beating the 49ers at home Sunday.
I mean, they're on a 3-game losing streak. Okay.
Agreed.
Cool.
You guys agree? Yes or no?
I agree with you.
Saw it. All right, I picked him in the Pick'em League. Now I'm last in the Pick'em League, so what does that tell you?
I ain't that far.
I'm over 500 though. I mean, I'm over 500, but I'm last, so.
Ain't that far.
Man, look, some of these games though, I've lost in the most atrocious ways.
And
Like the Giants, how they lost to the Jets. Come on, man. That should have been a dub for me. I'm gonna keep it a buck. That should have been a dub for me. Come on. I mean, I have lost these games atrociously, but I mean, such is life.
I have a question for y'all. It's football related, but in one of my fantasies, I get to pick who I want for my starting quarterback. I can't determine who I want. I don't know if I want to start Justin Herbert or C.J. Stroud, because Herbert's still dealing with that hand issue.
Herbert's playing against who?
Shoot, I forgot. I know that C.J. Stroud is going up against Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So
at home or on the road?
It's in Cincinnati.
In Cincinnati.
Go Herbert. Go Herbert.
Yeah.
They're playing the Lions.
They're playing the Lions.
Yeah.
Go Herbert.
Here's another thing also as well.
I was just in a pickle because when he went against the Jets, it's like he only had like 8 points. I'm like, bro, you should be able to put up more points with that. You know what I mean?
No, I'm gonna pivot and I want to say go with CJ Stroud.
But yeah, I think I might
Ricky
go
on the road against a hot team. Go for it. Let me know how it works out for you.
But he's been balling out though.
He had a good game at home against the Bucks.
But he's been balling out all season though. I don't know.
Had a good hey, Carolina. Hey, real quick, go look up his stats against Carolina on the road against the Panthers in their one game they won. Real quick, and come back to me.
Now, here's the thing: CJ Stroud is not gonna have Nico Collins. He's out for this game. Now you do.
And I like CJ.
No.
I didn't know Nico Collins was out.
Yeah, but Nico Collins is out now for the Bengals.
Didn't he go play last week? Who
Higgins
cares?
is out. T. Higgins is out, and now you got Jamar Chase with a back injury. So,
man, y'all didn't see Noah Brown go for 150 yards.
I'm picking Herbert.
Bro, Noah Brown looked like a freaking top wide receiver last week. Like, bro, where was
Dalton
that
Schultz
last
have 100
year?
yards?
That made no sense.
Come on, man. But anyways, neither here nor there. Neither here nor there. With that being said, Spoonie, are you ready, or are you passing on the sermon?
I'm always something, yeah.
Oh, okay. Hey, I didn't know. All right. Well, sir, I ain't hear from you. I didn't know. Ladies and gentlemen, you're now tuned to the Spoonie Sermon.
For some of you, fathers, mothers who's watching this show, I know when you talk about your kids, your babies, you talk about, I just remember the time they was crawling before they started walking. They crawl, they reach up to you, Mom, Dad, baby. And then all of a sudden, that first step, when they take that first step, they walk to you slow. Then all of a sudden, they start running. Now, why am I bringing that up? Because what we are witnessing right now is the birth of this Dallas Cowboys offense. Yes, we've been crawling. Yes, we've been crawling. Now we're standing up, and now slowly we're walking at a faster pace. And maybe soon, by the time we get to the playoffs, we'll be running. Now, before we talk about playoffs, we had to talk about Big Blue, the New York Giants. Yes, they call you Big Blue, but you're gonna be more blue after the game because this Dallas Cowboys team is gonna be at AT&T Stadium, and they are going to unleash doomsday havoc on that squad. DeVito, I don't know who you are. Some say you were delivering pizza. Some say that you're related to Ralph Macchio from the Karate Kid. I don't know. Some say, hey, Danny DeVito's your cousin. That's what Space said. I don't know. But I'm going to tell you this right here, DeVito. Your job is to come and play for your New York Giants and try to beat the Cowboys, which you're not going to do. You're not going to do that. What we're going to do to you, we're going to baptize you into the NFL. We're going to let you have your jersey for you to go home. Hell, we may even sign a jersey to give it to you because right now, that may be the last game you ever play because we're going to fuck your ass up mentally.
Whoa!
Yes, it's going to happen. The league will be unknown on Sunday. All you networks out there who want to come out and now give Dak his flowers all of a sudden. Now you want to talk about Dak Prescott this, Dak Prescott that. Shut your damn mouth. You don't have the audacity to mention that man's name at all. What you are going to witness is that he will be the best quarterback in the NFL. He ain't Jalen Hurts. Hell fucking no. He ain't Jalen Hurts. He ain't Justin Herbert. He hasn't even won a playoff game. It sure ain't damn no other quarterback. This is Dak's year. And this team is going to follow Dak and make sure that he raised that trophy up come February 4th, and we're going to go crazy. But it's going to start on Sunday. The gauntlet to the playoffs starts on Sunday, and the ass whipping will continue on. Yes, we crawl. Yes, we started walking, but we're going to start running very soon. And guess what? You won't catch up.
Okay. All right. Did you literally say he's going to get baptized and drown while he's being baptized?
Yes, he did.
I apologize.
That's dark.
That's
Wow.
bro.
How do you follow that?
We don't. What we say is, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your weekend. All right. Hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. Enjoy. I know, look, and I saw somebody about the college stuff. Man, things were happening and whatnot. We just didn't get to it tonight. Make sure you go watch college football and do those things. Sorry, we didn't get to the Knicks picks tonight either. Again, there's a lot of stuff that was happening behind the scenes. We couldn't get into that. Here, we'll do this. How does Deacon Dom feel about that? Are you, in a football literal sense, are you okay here? Is it okay, or was it a little maybe too much for you?
I mean, I will pray for my brother later.
Okay,
we get that connected. Hoo-wee. I gotta go listen to that again, but I don't know how Spoon do this stuff. I'll just stop.
It was crazy.
Excellent job. Yeah, we ain't worried about these college games. We all about these Cowboys right now. I'm forget NCAA. These Cowboys got to get it together.
That part. Halfway mark. Time to turn it up a notch. No better way to end the show than right there. Salute to everybody once again. Make sure you hit the faces as you see across the bottom. That's us on Twitter. You give us over there. Give us the follow on that side too. Make sure also Space Cowboy Media. You see it right there. That is also on YouTube. Mr. 10K himself. Make sure you hit the sub over there if you're not and catch his content. And again, sorry for the late. We didn't have a little pregame or nothing else. Sorry for the lateness of kind of getting here tonight. But again, just human stuff, life stuff. Give a shout out to my guy Felix as well too. Y'all have a safe evening. Enjoy your weekend. No matter what, it's always forward. And according to Spoon, we're going to drown somebody Sunday. I didn't, but that's what Spoon said, not me. Peace.